So anything you say on the live version, just make sure you're aware of that. That being said, we do request that you use the chat function to ask any questions. That way no one's talking to each other, and that everyone kind of keeps their speaker muted, just because it'd be a lot of people at once kind of talking and all the background noise. So other than that, this is about a 30 to 45-minute estimation, and I'm going to turn it over to Alexis.
So hi everybody, my name is Alexis. I am the Residence Life Coordinator for the residence. And so I just kind of want to let you know a couple things before we start answering any questions that anybody might have. I know that you might have questions about what's happening with the school and what's happening with classes. I will let you know that we actually don't know that information. We would like to give you as much as we could, but if you want any class information, you're going to have to talk to the the coordinator of your classes, or you're going to have to talk to the school. And then there's some questions we're going to try our best to answer everything that we can, but there are some things that just keep changing daily, so we might not have the exact answer, and we might try to ask you to email us so that we can get back to you. And then at the end of the chat, when all the questions have been answered, what we'll do is I can leave my email down at the bottom. So if you do have any further questions that maybe you were a little bit too nervous to ask on the call, or that maybe didn't get asked or answered exactly how you want it, you can just send me an email as well. So at this point, we'll just open it up to start off with. If anybody has questions, just put them in the group chat. If not, we will come up with some for you so that you kind of know a little bit what's going on. Okay. I will start with one just to get the first question out there. So some of you might be wondering if you, son, daughter, whoever is on the call for us here, can get a roommate if you want one. So at this point, we are only accepting half capacity. So everybody's going to be getting a single unit. Just because of COVID, we want to make sure everybody stays safe. We will still be running events and whatnot so that people can get comfortable and meet new people, even through Zoom meetings or through virtual events. But at this point, for caution, we just want to make sure everybody stays safe. We are just having one person per unit. So we have a question right now that says, do you know what day we are allowed to move in on? So move-in is going to be a little different than past years, especially if you are a returner. So if you are in the health sciences program, we know that you're starting on September 8th, I believe it is. So we are going to allow move-in the weekend before September 8th, so that Labor Day weekend. If you are in a different program where you start around the 21st, we're going to be allowing move-in up to a week before that. The next question, is there a rate for students that want to move into residence in November because their courses are online? So at this point, we don't really have a November move-in. We do have that winter, which is in January. But if we have space and you move in later, and it would have to be that you got accepted later, then we would prorate it to the day that you move in. So it would just be based on how many days you've stayed in residence. However, if you apply to residence and you've been accepted now, we wouldn't go based on the day you move in. We go based on the move-in day, because we assume that you're all moving in. And then if you're not going to be moving in until November, we still kept that room for you, so you would be paying for it.
So I don't see any other questions coming in right now. So I guess I'll ask a follow-up question that some students might be wondering is, will there be roommates later on in the year if COVID kind of gets better? And the answer to
So
that,
at this point,
yeah, go for it.
no, you can go, Michael. Sorry about that, everyone.
So the answer to that right now is going to be that right now we don't have any plans. However, if everything kind of gets better, then we're going to kind of move into the process of assigning roommates. However, that's not a guarantee, and everything's still kind of on a day-by-day basis. So just kind of assume the status quo at this point.
And we'll just continue going with the questions that we have just in case. But please just post your question in the chat if you do have anything. So another question that we wrote is, how do we meet people if we don't get roommates? So the resident staff, so myself and Michael, and then some of our student staff as well, will be running events and programs throughout the year, which is a great opportunity for everybody to get to know other people. We're going to be running some program-specific ones and just in general, like paint nights and whatnot. And as mentioned, they'll be virtual, and we'll try to do some distant in person as well. And that'll be a great time to meet new people and make some friends, knowing that you won't have a roommate.
Okay, so then the next question is what kind of events are being planned? We at the residence here have a lot of variety of different types of events that are planned. So everything from really, really passive, quiet in your room to active events where you're kind of like going out and doing different things. Obviously, a lot of that's changing because of the whole COVID situation. However, I do highly recommend you connecting with the RAs or with the residence council if you want to get involved in the planning with all that fun stuff. And it looks like we have some
The other questions that we just got is the kitchen still going to be open? Yes, we will still have the kitchens open in residence. We're just going to be more strict about cleaning them. So we might have like cleaning equipment in there. So students who use the kitchen will be required to make sure they clean up after themselves. And then we'll also be making sure that like housekeeping goes in as well. There might be different times where it's set up to do deep cleaning. So it might be closed for an hour just for a deeper cleaning. We haven't figured out everything based on the kitchen, but we do know they will still be open. And then we had another question here. I paid the $500 for on-campus deposit, and you're on the waiting list. So, and when you are accepting the payments. So when we accept payments, it's based on, so if you get accepted, we'll give you a date of when you need one of the payments in. And you can decide, so we have 3 payment options, which are all on our website. So the lowest one is $2,000. And that would be needed, it's usually within a month of you getting accepted. However, if it happens where somebody is in a financial situation where they may not be able to pay that full amount, you just need to reach out to us and we will create a payment plan with you. However, we don't have a monthly payment plan available. We just do that based on necessary student needs.
Okay, so I guess the next question is, how do you guys know what's going to be going on in residence? And the honesty, you just got to need to be involved in the community. So we'll be posting things on RA doors. There'll be event calendars in the main lobby, as well as a TV behind the front desk that may be used. But then we're also going to have a very high online presence this year. That's the plan anyways. So we'll have lots of Facebook groups. We'll have Facebook's page. We'll have Instagram. So these are all great spots to kind of find where to get involved. So that's really your main spot to go to. But again, if you ever have any questions whatsoever, your RA is there to support you. And if you ask them, they'll have a wide variety of knowledge of what's going on.
So another question are, what are ways to get involved in residence? So there are 2 like main ways to get involved in the residence. So the first is participating in the programs that we do have. When we do programs, we try to like, they're in most cases free. If not, you just put like a deposit and then you get it back once you've participated. So if we run a paint night, you just let us know and we'll get those programs and participate in them. The next thing is we run a residence council. So if you want to hold a position in residence, you could apply for the residence council and actually have your voice as the resident's voice.
Right, and then the next question I'm going to get Alexis to answer again. And the question is, are we allowed to have friends in our suite?
So at this point, we are not having guests over in residence. Just if you aren't aware, Windsor is still only in phase 2. So we are strict on guests at the moment. So there won't be allowed guests. However, when you're moving in, we do allow one parent to come with you as well. If we move into phase 3, we'll look at allowing one guest into the residence rooms with the students. And then going back to 2 guests, which is our limit on most days. Unless you're studying, we can look into it. However, we'll go into 2 if we see a decrease in numbers for COVID and if we feel that it's safe to go into having 2 people. But we are listening to the school and everything that we do. We don't want to make any rules without talking to the health board and the school.
Okay, so the next question is, does the college have any optional meal plans we have? And my suggestion would be to reach out to them and see what's going on there. We don't have a mandatory meal plan, but right now we do have plans to have a grocery shuttle bus that does run on a weekly basis.
So just going off of that and adding a little bit more, at this moment, the college is not open with their food services. They are trying to open and they're doing their best to see what opening would consist of. However, even then, you don't have meal plans that you can get. They have a couple stores in the college. So they have a Tim Hortons, they have a Subway, they have a pizza place, shawarma, and Booster Juice. And then they have a couple restaurants, but at that time, they don't have plans for those to open just yet. And then also with the grocery bus, that would run on Tuesdays, and it's a 3-hour bus that would just loop between the grocery stores so that everybody can get to the grocery store and come back whenever they're available. So the next question is actually was already answered about the kitchen. So just so everybody's aware, we do have a common kitchen, which when we do the live tour, we will show you what the common kitchen looks like. And as I mentioned before, it still will be open, just with added cleaning.
Okay, so then the next question that we kind of prepared is, it's very common for students to want to just cook in their own rooms. So are you allowed to bring your own cooking device? So it's a kind of 2 answers to this. So it's yes, but it needs to be an automatic shut-off device that's approved by CSA, and it can't have an open element. So what that means is that you can't have a hot plate, for example. But what you can have is something like a toaster oven or something similar to that. Either or, you need to make sure that these devices are approved by a resident staff member. So whether that be an RA or someone at the front desk, you just need to make sure that it's approved, because we just want to make sure that it's a safe environment and you don't actually accidentally set off the fire alarm for the entire building type situation.
Going off that just really quickly, so hot plates, I'm going to stick with what he said in that they're not allowed unless they're induction top. We will allow induction top just because they are safer. Are there microwaves in the room is one of the questions. Yes, there are. So there's a microwave and a full-size fridge, and then the sink. So most students will end up making food in their room, but we do have the kitchen available. And then so just so everybody's aware, the room is set up so that there's a kitchenette, a bathroom, and then 2 bedrooms. As I said, only one of the bedrooms will be open. So in the kitchenette, there's that microwave. And sorry, what kind of top? I'm not sure if you meant for the hot plate. So if I'll just repeat, you can have an induction top hot plate. And then our coffee maker is okay? Yes, you can have a coffee maker. The next question, we did answer this a little bit, but just repeating ourselves. How do we get groceries? As mentioned, we are looking at the shuttle bus. At this point, we still have plans to go along with the shuttle bus. That might change if the bus company can't run, but at this moment, they still told us that they are planning to come back in September. And then the next question is, do we get our suites cleaned? At this moment, no, we have canceled the suite. We have housekeeping. We're not having them go into rooms at this time. However, again, if we open residence up to, because COVID is lower, then we will have housekeeping going into the rooms, and they clean bathrooms and kitchens They don't do like a deep clean, so you have to do your own dishes. However, they will wash the floors and clean out the sink and such. Another question is the laundry room open? Again, yes, the laundry room will be open. However, it'll run as same as the kitchen with extra cleaning, and it might be a couple hours that we need to close it to do some more cleaning, but we will have that open. And then we have a question of, can the student use the other room? No, we're not going to allow the other room to be open, just in case in second semester we have students get roommates. If everything opens up and they allow us to do roommates again, we want to make sure those rooms were kept clean. There's a question on if there are curfew hours. There are no curfew hours. A residence is open 24 hours. You have the key card to your residence. You have a key to your bedroom. You can come and go as you please. Just make sure that you stay safe. We do have staff available at the front desk if you get locked out or anything. And as I mentioned, it is 24 hours, so that's completely up to you. And how's the Wi-Fi in residence? Will it be good enough for everyone online? I believe it will be. So we got our Wi-Fi changed last year, and since then it has been running very smoothly. I have not seen any issues, and I mean, not everybody was on the internet, but we had a lot of gamers in the past without any issues of slowness. As I said, because we did switch over our internet, so it is brand new, and hopefully that means it's okay. And then the question is, do we get to pick which room we want? No, because when you come in and we give you your keys, we're just going to give you the key to one of the bedrooms. I can tell you both bedrooms are the same. If there's a reason you need the other one, I guess you can let us know. But we just give you a key when you move in. We have another question here. If you're allowed to have guests visit, and if they're roommates second semester, can we pick our roommates? So if we, as I mentioned before, at this moment, we won't allow guests in the room just because of COVID. However, if we see the numbers of COVID dropping and the school allows us, we'll allow one guest in, and then we'll move to two if we see things dropping again. If you get roommates in second semester, if you have somebody that you want to be your roommate, yes, we will take that into consideration because we realize that roommate portal isn't happening at the moment. So there's a question here of if you paid the deposit, but you haven't gotten an email about acceptance or wait list. I will let you know that that does mean you're on the wait list. I'm sorry if you haven't gotten that email yet. Anybody who's paid the deposit has been put onto our wait list. If you don't get into residence, you will get your money back completely. We'll send it in a check, and it'll take about 8 weeks to come in, depending on the mail as well. And if you are a person who's deciding that you only want to be here in the winter semester, I suggest applying just for the winter semester. There's another question of, can we choose the floor or a specific dorm? We don't allow that choice just because in case something happens. If you have a need to be on a certain floor or you need to be in a certain room, we can take it into consideration, but we won't guarantee anything. You know if you've been accepted, because that was a question here. If you got an email from us, we would have said, this is your acceptance, this is the day you need to pay by. As I said, we are still going through the wait list a little bit because people are noticing that they're all online and they don't want to come. So just because you're on the wait list doesn't mean you won't get in. However, it is the wait list, so we can't guarantee anything there as well. If you've been accepted and you're looking for an invoice, we will definitely send that. We're sorry if you haven't been sent that at the moment. We will send it with all students. So, but if you're on the wait list, we don't send an invoice at this time, just because we don't want you paying and then having to, and then you're not getting in and having all of that money in your account. Just, it's easier to get that when you've been accepted. The next question is it co-ed floors? Yes, it is. We don't really honestly pay attention to who goes next to each other. As I said, it just goes into the system, and we will pick quieter areas if people need. However, it is random. So just so everybody's aware, we do have, which you will see in this tour, a dance studio that has like a little piano in it up in our like 5th floor. That at the moment is closed. We are looking at whether or not it could be open for students who are in like a program that requires them needing to practice, so musical theater. However, at this point, we don't know. It depends on cleaning. It depends on what phase we're at with the school. But we will let people know as soon as we can if they're allowed to use that space.
Okay, so this might be the end of it if we don't have any other questions. So just as a reminder that this was a recorded session. So if you have any additional questions between now and the end of this, you can send us an email directly at info@stclairresidence.ca, or you can give us a call at 519-966-9501. And it looks like we have another question, and just are we only allowed to have one parent to help move in? And I believe Alexis said that was the case earlier.
At this point, yes. So in August, when we get closer to move-in, we'll send you more information about how the move-in process will work. Due to the fact that we're only at phase 2 at the moment, we will only allow one parent or family member to help somebody move in. That's just, again, to keep our numbers down because there are a lot of people who do need to move in. However, as mentioned, you'll get an email to explain it. If we move to a different phase and feel comfortable allowing more people in, we'll let you know.
Okay, well, beyond that, I think that's it for our recorded session. I'm going to stay here till everyone leaves, but other than that, thanks for tuning in. Like Alexis mentioned, next week we will be having our live tour on Friday at 11 a.m.
I just left my email down in the chat, so if you do have any questions that you want to email me, you can email me as well. And thank you everybody for coming.